We are just going to set the stage by doing about 3 slides. The vast majority of the time is their time to tell the stories about what's actually happening in the real world within their organizations and how enterprise training is successfully being deployed at scale. But let's start just with the challenge question or problem. You know, it is complicated and expensive to do training. There are often challenges related to the actual safety of the training, and then there is a question about retention and whether the training is actually leading to the business results that you need. So that's the kind of problem statement for the industry right now. And then here are some stats that we pulled from Skills XR. So 75% of companies have tried. Like, we're 10 years into this journey. This is not a new thing. Like, the vast majority, over 3/4 of companies have attempted it. So what is going on? What can we learn from it? From the ones that are deploying it correctly, you're looking at a 275% increase in how people feel about the retention of the knowledge and using the skills. And they're retaining the information, the vast majority of the information, 80% of the information for more than a year. PICO is the preferred hardware platform, and it's more than just hardware. It's the services, it's the support, it's everything. So we start with world-class hardware, then we build on top of that our business suite and the MDM, and then on top of that is the ecosystem of ISVs who are building the training software, building the applications, coming up with the innovative solutions, and then at a foundational level is the technical support, the OS, the enterprise SDK. So here we're going to get into a quick summary of each of the 3 panelists and who they represent. Here is the Daiichi Sankyo. Thank you. So they worked with Immersive Oasis, who is also in the room. And the problem set here is, how do you get medical professionals to follow procedures more accurately, to learn from a variety of different scenarios? So the thing that makes this use case really important is that it's not one single training application, but it's a platform. And within that platform, there are, I think you're going to get in the numbers, but there are, you know, dozens of different training scenarios that people can go through, that the medical professionals can go through. Then number 2, we have Bosch, and then in the case of Bosch, we have the Metaverse Lab, and we're going to be talking about a specific project that's been rolled out this year to technicians, logistical technicians, and what kind of results we've had with that, they've had with that project. And then finally, SNCF. Everybody's aware that's the national rail company in France, hopefully. And in this case, it's about training the station employees to be able to better handle customer service. It's an incredibly difficult environment. We did some discussion beforehand about, like, there just isn't good Wi-Fi in rail stations in Paris. So how do you solve for both IT problems as well as the training problems? And then with that, we have our 3 panelists who've already been introduced, and so we can start the discussion. So we are going to start with the first question. Give me 1 second. Which is business challenge and solution. Can you each give us a quick snapshot of the specific business challenge you faced and how your XR training program directly solved it? Do you want to start?
I can start.
Perfect.
So we are Daiichi Sankyo, so we are a pharma company. And as a pharma company, we are supporting our customers, cardiologists, in having some good quality training for their daily practice. So we used to do that, and how was it done before? They had like the theoretical training on patient cases or on specific protocols, but you know, the theory is always a bit tricky to really retain what you need to do, like for example, the professional gestures you need to apply on a specific patient, or the specific steps you need to take on a really difficult emergency protocols. So in theory, it's quite hard. And in practice, it's also hard to access those trainings because you're not always confronted to the really rare patient case that will give you all the key insights you need to learn. Or it's really difficult to access the material that is really expensive, for example, to perform a hemodynamic protocol. So for all of these reasons, we thought that VR is the solution to provide cardiologists with good patient cases, training on patient cases for 3 reasons. Because first, it makes the training accessible. So the rare patient case, the rare specialist that perform this protocol, and the rare material, rare and expensive material, all of this is much more accessible in virtual reality. Second, the education. Of course, like virtual reality is much more immersive, interactive, so you can interact with this super famous specialist. You can also retain all the complex steps of the protocols that sometimes are really difficult. And the third reason why it's really important is like the data display. How it is displayed in virtual reality is really important for cardiologists, because to perform good diagnosis, they need to integrate super various sets of data. So for example, Holter data, echocardiography data, many different data, and if you have all of this together in one room, it makes their life much easier. So
yes, let's pass it over. So how does it work? What is the question is what have you been doing at SNCF?
What we've been facing actually is that the agents in the train stations, they have to answer the questions of customers, and they're very varied questions, from the cost of tickets to where the train is going to, etc., etc. So they have initial training, right, with role play, but in time, you know, the practices vary and they change, and sometimes not in a good way. So we're more about continuous training. And what we wanted to do is to bring the training to the train stations and help the agents really, I was going to say on the floor, but in the train stations, you know, the ones you go to ask your questions, have some training cases and be able to talk with virtual customers and train, giving them the right talking points, the right information in the right way. So this has been going on for a while right now, and we've deployed 130 headsets in 60 train stations around Paris. We've had 4,000 sessions done in a year, and yeah, it's working. The people are adhering to this method, and yeah, I hope that if some people coming to Brussels came from Paris and took the train, they got the right answers. And
what if you could, because you brought up a point when we did the pre-session about you're being audited using this secret method that the regions are verifying that it works.
So yeah, in this case, SNCF client is the region, so they're organizing the regional transport. And they're organizing mystery client service, so quite classical, you know, it happens in all...
we call it a secret shopper in the US.
Secret shopper.
People who pretend to be a customer and see how good the agent does.
Yeah, I looked up the translation, and there's several depending on the countries, actually. So I chose one randomly, and apparently it's not the good one. So yeah, and the results are going up. So hopefully it's partly thanks to these trainings.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to hear that it's being verified in a real, authentic way.
Yeah.
So Bosch, I'm super curious about how you deployed your training solution to all these logistical technicians, right? Is that?
So, hello everyone, good afternoon. My name is Saleh MUSSTAFA, working for Bosch. Everyone knows what Bosch is doing. It's an automotive supplier. It's doing a lot of Bosch household appliances and a lot of more. Where is Bosch integrated in this XR technology? We are focusing a lot of onboarding associates, internal, external fairs, trainings in VR for industrial, for corporate sectors, and also we have a pilot for a job interview at a university in Stuttgart. My example for today is a sub-process from the logistic. And this idea was born in our Metaverse lab. This year we opened our second Metaverse lab in Germany. And this lab is our strategical point to be near to our customer. That's the intention, that's the strategy about. Inside the space we have all necessary hardware which we need, all the applications and the experts. And the vision about that is like that the business units can book a workshop, come into our Metaverse lab, and together we will brainstorm what kind of use cases can be brought into an XR technology to enable this technology easier. So my example for today is a sub-process from the logistic. I mean, the logistic is a huge topic, but this sub-process is like the logistic employees have to do a huge, to follow a huge amount of precise and sequential steps by doing this process. Maybe a small picture about that. There is a box with a lot of automotive stuff inside. There is a label on this box. They have a hand scanner. They have to press a lot of things on the hand scanner to change the label, bring this box from A to B, and again they have to do the same for B to C, for example. So to train that, it's a little bit difficult, time-consuming, and the problem is also here that it's difficult to standardize, especially when you want to standardize this training in a global manner. So we decide in our Metaverse lab, okay, what exactly do we need? So we need a training for our worldwide logistic team, which is practical and scalable for sure. So we decide to bring that into VR because with the help of VR, we are able now to bring such kind of complex process into a easy and time-consuming way, and for sure we are ensure a quality of knowledge worldwide.
And to stick on this example for one point, the second thing that we really wanted to get into was how do you define, what are the definable metrics that you can share with the organization, and how do those metrics help you kind of move forward with your next project? So what would be the, like if you had 2 or 3 metrics about the project that you could share, what process improvements were possible or what cost savings were possible, if there's something you can point to on the business side, right?
Yeah, from our side, it's like how we measure this is like the business unit, after the implementation was done, they start to compare the old process and the new one. So they split into 2 teams, for example, bring the employees in the old one. So let's do this process, the old one. Let's do the new one into VR, and let's check for time. How much time do you need? How much time the trainer needs to step into to support you? How is the quality? So like sending surveys to check how much knowledge is left after 1 or 2 weeks, and how confident are the employees with that. So for us, it was like successfully, I would say, because faster trainings with VR, fewer errors, and our employees are more confidential, and the quality grows up.
So the question is, would you share that information publicly in the future? Would you ever participate in like a white paper, or, I mean, is this data that you think your organization will feel comfortable sharing with? We have an audience full of people who are looking to be evangelists, who are trying to help us drive this technology forward. Like, do you think your organization would be comfortable sharing that data publicly, or is this something that they view more as like a trade secret? Or
it's not a trade secret, but until now it's like that. I share my experience with you with the experience from the business units, and I think we have to get more and more studies about what exactly are the numbers we figured out with bringing processes into XR solutions.
Perfect. So Charlotte, what are the metrics? Like, what is the number you point to That when you see that number after a new training module, or how do you measure the success of your projects?
So for us, success means usefulness for a cardiologist. So we need to measure like whether it's useful or not. So of course we have like some quantitative metrics with like a net promoting score, surveys with doctors like, okay, do you think this is useful? But more importantly, what is really amazing for a pharma company is that these trainings for us, they are the occasion to meet cardiologists and to provide them something useful for them. So usually we struggle to create those occasions, but with VR, we see that there is an active traction from cardiologists and from hospitals asking for the VR trainings, the VR sessions at their hospitals. So we measure that in the numbers of sessions we are asked proactively by hospitals to perform. Like in the pharma world, it's crazy like to have like this reverse link. So for example, in Belgium, we have like monthly meetings with like cardiologists. In Spain, you have like dozens and dozens of visits to different hospitals. And we have different channels. For example, also in Turkey, we had a national congress with 360 videos of intervention. And in one day, you had more than 300 persons queuing to see all of this. So for us, we have a lot of metrics on, okay, participation, net promoting score, usefulness, but like the traction that we feel, the request from our customers is really strong. So that's why we are totally convinced that it's the direction we need to take.
Perfect. Yeah, so government agency in part, or at least lots of government funding, there must be lots of questions about tracking and metrics and proving results, right?
Yes, there is, but I agree with your point, and what we're tracking is whether it's being used. Actually, it's very, very basic, but we took a risk. We deployed the headsets within the train stations, and the managers are responsible for saying the agents, you should go train, you should go use the headsets, and they're in these train stations because sadly there's not a headset in every train station around Paris. It was a bit too many, and it works. It means that not only the agents use it, but the managers are convinced, and it took a lot of helping them. Answering questions, having weekly and monthly meetings, evolving, documenting, so step-by-step guides and things like that. So yeah, I think that's the main result internally. And then we talked about the secret shoppers, so surveys. So the results are going up. So we should be part of this, of these good results, I hope.
But just to go back to what you just said, Lionel, I think for us as well, like the internal engagement, like how do you bring your team into the project is really like the key success factor. Yes. So it's not only like providing trainings, it's training the trainers, and you really need like to change the culture within your organization so everybody's buying it. So then like it's a success. But I totally see you like which kind of meetings or sessions you had, because we are also doing the same.
So we trained the people, and it helped convince them actually. So it's more about, and I guess you know about that too, it's convincing people that it's useful. And sometimes on paper they say, well, VR XR might be like a gadget, and it's more work for a trainer. There's friction in the kind of the customer journey, so the agent journey and the trainee journey.
Yeah, let me jump into that topic. We had like, I have a lot of colleagues here also, like Christian Hergt and my colleagues from Poland. We have a lot of workshop done in the last 3 years. And the first thing is like, when I would like give you an advice for that, it's like, listen to the customer, because at the end you have to convince them. And not everyone is feeling well, maybe with different with a headset, with this headset. Maybe it could be another headset. It could be another application, for example. So you have in our workshop we are figure out what kind of hardware is the right one for this use case, and this is the key strategy to get more success into this topic.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, you guys are kind of stealing the thunder because the final question we all agreed we would talk about is this
Sorry for the spoilers.
nebulous advice for the other people in the room, right? So if you could do your projects or start over, if you were advising someone who is earlier in this journey, like what is so we talked about the challenges and then we talked how important metrics are to kind of prove the results, but and now you're talking a lot about engaging all the other stakeholders. I mean, out of those three, let's say, or if you have a fourth that you think is like the number one thing, what advice do you have for the people in the room? Yeah, you can go. We'll go in order, and then we're almost out of time after that.
Only one thing?
Only one advice. It can't be like
I would
10
say
things.
be bold. Like this kind of VR project, you have to get lost. You have to try, you have to co-develop, you have to ask everybody their opinion on it in order to provide the good content, to provide the good session. So it cannot be a short, mid-term project. It's a long-term project with long-term products, with long life cycle products, in order to find your way and to deliver like tailor-made sessions, tailor-made content. So be bold. And I think their interest is here, so we can all say that it's a long time relationship.
Yeah, kind of within it's boldness too, but I would say sometimes you have to make do with what you have, and circumvent some difficulties and some lack of infrastructure. Typically, for our solution, you need to have some data connection to, get the results back from what you are saying. So, are you saying the things right, the right info, and so on? And in some train stations, in some rooms, so it's not right next to the platforms, but underground. There's no Wi-Fi, so there's no data connection. So it's not company Wi-Fi, and we were like, okay, let's deploy some 4G routers, and it does the job, and it's enough. So we could have stopped at saying, well, it doesn't work, no Wi-Fi, sorry, but we didn't, and that's I guess the main advice that I would give you: don't stop at the first infrastructure problem or difficulty. There's always another way.
Great. So it's only one advice, right?
We were here for hours.
No,
it has to be one advice. There's a forcing mechanism.
I already mentioned, like, listen to the customer, and I said we have aggressively bringing this metaverse lab to hit the employees into this right direction. Another advice is like focus on business impact. I mean, this is the main topic at the end. XR needs to solve problems.
Which is a great segue to the final slide, which was you guys started with. We started at the beginning, and we wanted to answer the question like, how can you bring enterprise training into organizations at scale? You have to start with the important problem. You have to do measurability, and then obviously working with your internal stakeholders, with external partners, great ISV and developers. There's many people in this room that want to collaborate with the people on stage, but also with each other. So hopefully in the next 3 to 5 years, we will see a massive uptick in the quality of the data that we gather, and proving that this training and this approach to training is the best way of helping employees work better in the future. So thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot.